Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Under Construction, the show where we build things on the beautiful, wonderful map of Tolrind. And today, first off, I need to show off the work that I've done, which this area was partially done. That big square of trees is back on its own. I didn't fix it; it just came back on its own. And I started working in this direction. This area got some detail. I was having fun with this, because I bought a couple of things. K1D. Yeah. I bought the K1 from K&L because they're having a sale on Pacifics. I bought the K1, and I also bought the K4. All three versions because they're in one pack now. It was only $4. Totally worth it. I'm a standards man, as I'm sure you guys know, so I'm loving having those engines. But I extended this a couple more segments. It's going on a little bit more, and it's largely going to remain flat in here, but we do have to get over that ridge in the background there. Other than that, I'm not too worried about it. This is an area that we're going to work on in the future. But we do have to move down the way this way, and I think largely what we're going to want to be doing... Oh, goodness. I think largely what we're going to want to be doing is working on this river here, specifically these areas here, or maybe just this area here up to where I did the copy pasting, because we can't do any more copy pasting on camera, as we learned last episode when we broke things. And then maybe some stuff on the islands here might benefit us just to spend some time on. And then other than that, what I wanted to do is I wanted to build a little community here with a road that comes off of the highway, and also maybe one that goes out that way, sort of up the hill. You know, I'm not really sure where that's gonna go, but that's what's in my head right now. Sort of my idea. Maybe, you know, maybe put a little, like a footbridge or something across here. Maybe not. But this is a nice flat area that I could use to throw some beach houses in. I feel like that would be beneficial. The other thing, I started to do a little bit more work out here. But other than that, there wasn't really any change. But I think I'm going to continue over here. Let me just make sure. Yep, we are on the route layer. I said that already. We are going to continue out here because this area has captivated me, and it's the first area that I can do without copy paste. And maybe we'll go back to the next little village sooner or later this episode. Oops. Already I'm screwed stuff up. So I had that done. I started to do this and the game actually crashed again because I was doing more tree copy pasting. It doesn't really bother me too much anymore because I don't really lose any progress most of the time because of the way autosave works now, where we don't have a designated autosave function, but we just have it opens the map for edit, and it'll stay open until you're done with it. And if at any point in there it crashes, then, you know, that's fine. This side is probably going to be a lot more sand than anything, so I need to grab a sand texture. Also, you might hear something in the background. I will probably adjust the volume on that. I have it as low as I can get it on YouTube, but that may not be the best that I can do, because some of these have lyrics in them and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is I have the NCS, the No Copyright Sounds dubstep live stream in the background. TBA tossed that to me for use. He uses it in the background of his streams, and I'm loving it so far. I've never been that much of a fan of dubstep, or at least originally when it came around. But electronic music in general grew on me. I don't get into it nearly as much as I do get into some other genres, but you know, it definitely has its place in my heart. Then again, most musical genres have their place in my heart because I generally have a very wide array of music at my disposal. Speaking of which, Mason, I know you're watching this. Did you ever make that document? Because we were going to share, like, our musical tastes, because I know you wanted something else to listen to. Anyways. Yeah, this is cool. I hope I don't get anything from using this as the background. I certainly hope not. No copyright sounds should imply that there should be no problem with it. Here's what I need to do. I need to bring the sand onto land a little bit, because this should all be beach. And it shouldn't even necessarily be beach with dunes, because it doesn't get high enough for that. And I'm not sure if that noise is something that's in the video, or it's someone making tea outside. It's somebody making tea. I thought it was part of the song. I swear to God, I did. Okay, so we've got beach here, which we'll have to do something with. And we actually have this separating it from the marshy areas here. Oops, wrong button. So we'll do this. And we'll have to find a better way to blend that. But if I can get more of this area done, this is, you know, this would make me very happy. Because this area is an undertaking, for real. I also found a new grass blind I like for use along the river, which I will show off if we do more work along the river this episode, when we head back there, I suppose. It's really more of a when. We've got 2 hours, we've got a lot to do. But we've only got a few places that we're really working. The other thing I could do is go over and work on multiple industries and stuff in town, in Mason's Landing. Because I've had the compulsion to do that. I noticed a bit of a problem when it comes to switching out the shipbreaking yard. There's no place to stow cars while you're not using them. By that I mean if you want to switch it out, you have to go down there with some cars and then bring them all the way back to put aside the fulls and then bring the empties all the way back. So basically you end up going down Main Street multiple times. It's not really Main Street, but you end up going down the road there repeatedly, which is not good. It's not something you really want to have to do. Especially considering I'll probably have to set up ATLS crossings where it stops the cars on that road, or stops them coming down that road. Again, there's some sort of alternative to that now. I don't entirely understand what it is. Just like Mason, I'll probably have to have somebody come on here and explain it to me so that I can understand why it's a good thing. Oh, let me make sure I get all the spots underneath the bridge. I did notice some spots elsewhere on the map where the scenery work technically was not done, because you could still see grid in some areas, like right here. Oh, game. There we go. It's kind of funny you refer to this as a game. It's not a game. It's a simulator. You know, a game, you need to be able to, like, score points and whatever. This, you have scenarios, and it's, you know, quasi-realistic. You're doing that kind of thing, but it's not a game, so to speak. It's a little bit more gamey than some other ones, but that's only because it's less simulatory. It's more arcadey, I guess is the right word. So you used to classify physics. It's either arcadey physics or real physics. Or realistic physics. Oh, there's a spot that I missed. Let me go back to that in 1 second. After I do some grass all along here. No, that's not good because the grass is poking up through the top. Let's, like so. We're gonna pretend that this area is high enough that it's not affected by tides, and that's why grass can grow on it. And if there's some, because this is area that we already know the way it looked pre-railroad track, or we know the shape of the ground pre-railroad track because we built it. So there's no real ambiguity about, okay, well, what area deserves to be treated like it is built up, and what area deserves to be treated like it's natural. This whole area is, you know, this berm here, while it may have been part of a, you know, there may have been a hill, which I don't think there was. Whoops. It separates the sand, which is, you know, that's all it is, because there isn't any dirt or anything that's barely higher than sea level there. It separates that from this area, which is very swampy because it doesn't, it's mostly tidal. It doesn't get affected by ocean waves. We'll have to figure out what to do for the bottom of these pools that are too deep. Maybe sand, maybe just this, maybe some other kind of dirt. Maybe this kind of dirt, although that's, you know, that's already used. I was thinking more of a sandy dirt. We'll have to find something that looks good. You know, no matter where else it's being used, because we can reuse textures across the map. Doesn't really matter. Speaking of stuff. That was not really a segue. Hypercell, do you mind telling me what loco and cars are going across the bridge in the intro? Also, if you're going to put this in the video, thanks in advance. You're welcome. In current. So, that was actually from the end of one of the videos. That would be... so it should be up here. Yeah, it was the V3 consist, because that was the one with the red coaches. So yeah. This is, zoom out, son of a gun. This is K&L's Boston and Maine 3713, or the P4 is the name of the class, with its red coaches, which I think are awesome looking. Going across this bridge here, Bridge Maximus, out in that direction towards Mason's Landing. Yeah, I really need to keep an eye on performance, because we are chewing up the CPU, like 90-something%. I guess it's, you know, having these physical cores is a little bit dating. I need to upgrade to something with the virtual cores. That'll be my thing in the future. That'll be my next big upgrade, because that and RAM, although RAM is relatively inexpensive. I was lucky to be able to get a graphics card for cheap. But yeah, CPU and RAM. Which, honestly, if I'm getting a new CPU, I might need to get a new motherboard, because relatively old, the socket might not fit nice, shiny new things. Certainly, you know, it's yeah, it's an older AMD socket. I know it could fit a hex, but there might have been other stuff that's come out in the interim period between the last time I checked and now. That is a straight line, and it's kind of obnoxious, but honestly, what are you going to do? It's what it is. We just built an embankment. And it's in a straight line. Okay, so what else? Railord. Yeah, maybe I should start leaving shorter comments such as this one. Don't really want to take the spotlight away from other commenters. Well, I mean, let me address that real quick, because it was kind of fortuitous that we had this giant comment for me to look over. You know, because we had the game crash and I was SOL with regard to that, I couldn't, you know, work on stuff while I booted the game back up, so I had to just talk about something, and you helped me vamp a little bit. You helped me just keep the conversation going without needing to worry too much about what was actually going on, because I had nothing to display on screen. Somebody's burning something. That to about there, and that should be it. And then we can put grass or whatever here, because I know that the sand will probably only go to like here, and the reason for that is because the terrain goes up. Here's something I need to check on, though. So we're 1502, 1503, 1504. I just had the stopped clock illusion for a second there. This is like 1511, 1512. That is really... that's not good. Oh wait, no. Okay, no, we're a few seconds ahead of the... okay, that's fine. Yeah, so we're alright, because I need to keep an eye that nothing becomes too desynchronized. Did the music just stop? No. Okay. Okay, so this area here, this is, this is a transition area. This is where we need to pay attention to what everything looks like and how things should look, because the areas that aren't tidal, so the areas that are up here are still going to have grass and trees on them, like normal, whereas the areas down here are going to have moss and reeds and all this swampy stuff. And there goes somebody up the hill. Not sure if you guys could hear that. It's actually a fairly significant hill right here outside of the dorm, which I always have trouble with, because I'll start my car up for the first time in a couple of weeks, and go to drive up to the Model Railroad Club, and it's cold, and you pull out of the parking lot and immediately start going up the hill. And the car's not a really big fan of that. Alright, so out here, the question is, where do we stop the, how far from shore do we stop doing the reeds? Where do we stop doing the, this color and start working on something else? And the question is, the answer is I don't know yet. I actually don't know yet. And this, maybe this stuff is for more channel-based areas, and then the other stuff is for, shoreline. I don't know, I haven't really figured everything out yet. This is going to be another one where we've got... come on, game. Come on, everything. Where we've got this here, and along the edge, because we've got nothing protecting it. There's a particular reason why I didn't, why I don't download stuff during the podcast. Or during the show, rather. Not the building podcast. Although that could be, for sure, an alternate title for this. Honestly, I should have snapped up that title before I started using it for Minecraft. Which, this is an older show than Minecraft, right? Or, well, it's an older show than the building podcast, because, well, this is 35 episodes. Yeah, but building podcast is how many episodes? What did I just put up? I don't remember. Alright, so I've got to finagle my way around this and look and see, like, okay, what is the ideal here for the way this is supposed to look? This honestly can look the same sort of brownish mess that we're used to. And so can this area here, because that's pretty shallow. The question is, what do we do with this? Because we could have some cool stuff in the water. Like that. You get to see some cool looking, some cool looking stuff in these estuaries sometimes. And I was doing some impromptu research looking at the way that the edge of Long Island looks. Because Long Island is a particularly good example because it has areas that... excuse me. It has areas that are barriers like this, and it also has areas that are you know, or rather, areas that are not exposed to the ocean and areas that are directly exposed to the ocean, I should say. Because the areas that are end up forming these barrier-looking things, and the areas that aren't usually either are this sort of tidal swamp or become either built up. If they're, you know, if they're not built up, this is excluding built up stuff. They become effectively very close to the shoreline forests, and that's something that I've begun to emulate over by Olive. I sort of wanted to see if I could get away with that, or if I should be doing something else, because a lot of the time, what I've looked at as pointed to is, no, you don't really see that. What you see is these large flat areas that are grassy and you know, large flat areas that are grassy and don't have a lot of well, anything tall on them. No trees, nothing hard. So yeah, these guys are going to be able to survive in channels, but we do have to grab other stuff for the edges. Yeah, anywhere you have a current, you'll probably see these guys. The thing is, I have to be careful because they are the same sort of irregular shape, and they like to split up and leave a gap in the middle. This is grass, allegedly. This is not really grass, this is reeds. Yeah, it's nice if we have basically things broken up. We're gonna have a lot of splines over here, which is gonna really hurt. And, you know, I'm not kidding about that. It is gonna really hurt in terms of performance. I have not flown out to the lumber mill, not lumber mill, the forestry, since I got my new hardware, but I'm sure it performs a lot better than it used to. It's kind of nuts that splines perform as badly as they do, which is, you know, more incentive for me to leave tree splines behind, which I did. And, you know, just to the fact that speed trees look so much better. Yeah, splines can look good, but the thing with splines is you can so easily, you know, sort of abuse them and make them look bad. Because, you know, they're stupid, they'll just repeat. And so you have the same exact spline section again and again and again off into the distance. And you can see this in some places on the Iron Horseman route. Not places that I built, but some places. Because I always made it a point to vary the splines that I was working with, the consequence of that being that the areas did not run as well as they could. They were not that simple. In fact, they were kind of a mess. But I did the things that I did on purpose, which is to sort of jumble the splines, which of course I have on video because I worked on that area during, you know, former portions of the Zombie Train, when that was a show that was basically on its own and just had the footage. Speaking of which, all this dubstep makes me feel like the dubstep belongs in a time lapse. It does not belong here while I'm peacefully working on things. That's why I like the Train Fever soundtrack. Not that I'm gonna say goodbye to this playlist, because honestly it's kind of a godsend that it's there. As long as we don't get a copyright strike for it or something like that. Or, you know, a warning or etc. Alright. So we're getting somewhere. I think we do need something out here, at least on these areas that aren't right up against the water. But because of the fact that this thing basically just cut the cut this island in two. You know, it's kind of a different story. Still need to figure this out. Let's finish Railord's comment. Oh yeah, and the other thing I was going to say to that was, he didn't really take the spotlight away, necessarily, because I got around to everyone. I can understand if, you know, if people get bored of the same long comment, but I don't feel like it's really that different from there being just a bunch of comments that happen to be about that subject. The only difference is that these are just posted by one person. And naturally, if there are too many, like if it's a timestamp where I'm talking about something, don't get me wrong, I appreciate them. I really do need them, because if I'm totally bewildered by a comment, or you know, my thought is, I didn't say that, or I wasn't talking about that, or, you know, whatever, it's good to have that so that I can look back and go, oh yeah, I was. That's right, I said this and this and this. You know, hold me accountable for the things I say, basically, is what I'm getting at. What else? Grass 163. Nope, still this. So we've got a little patch of green grass here. I want these shrubs. There we go. So the shrub thing is something that I've got to work on, because I started toying around with it over by the bridge, and I can't get it to look the way I want it to really look. I need to look back at Mason's screenshot that he sent me of how it should really look, because then maybe it'll make sense to me. No, not fence. I don't want fence. How's this? Now, I don't really want these. I don't really want these that are half and half. What? You think if I use this on the sand it would show up better? Because now I'm trying to think of, okay, what's good on the sand? Yeah, actually. Let me do this. Let me do this out onto the sand. Not too close to the shoreline, just around the edge here. And it's sparse enough that I can do pretty much whatever I want with it and not worry about it looking bad. Honestly, if I overlapped several far from the coast, it would, you know, so to give it some more density when it's far away, and then only one near the edge. That might help its appearance a little bit, but for now, yeah, let's just do a little bit of that. Let's do a little bit of that and see how it looks. I don't think it looks bad. It's really tough for this, you know, this kind of thing to look bad. The thing that doesn't look great about it is the fact that there's hardly any overlap between the two. So I need to create some sort of transition here. Transitions may be the things, some of the things that people notice the least, but that if you're really taking care, you're going to spend the most time on. And that's kind of paradoxical, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Or, you know, it's counterintuitive, maybe even counterproductive, but the fact of the matter is, when you're going between one section to the next, having it be something that isn't a hard line is probably going to benefit the appearance of whatever you're looking at. Oh, this is cool. I don't think I've used these before. The thing with these splines is you end up grabbing a few that you like, and it's like, okay, these are the splines for this situation now. Not necessarily a bad thing, because in an ecosystem, you know, when you're making a route, rather, you're basically just creating an area of the world. And over an area of the world that you will see in one train's route, there really might not be that much variety with the area that you're going through, especially if you aren't going all that far. You know, we happen to be going along the coast here, and that gives us the opportunity to do things like this, where you have estuaries And, estuaries paired with little river valleys, paired with, lots of trees and grass and whatever. Where on the other hand, if we were just going through the middle of nowhere Vermont, so to speak, as an example, we'd probably just be using the sort of template that we come up with of grass and trees. You're not going through very different climates. And that's still true, except for, like I said, we picked a type of place on Earth that's generally very varied. And also, we happen to pick a set of locations where we can get away with a lot of different things. For example, having the VMR go up the hills, you can have sections up there that appear wholly different than what we're used to down here. Oops, I didn't want to do that. What I actually wanted was the grass underneath. Is that all I wanted, or did I want something slightly different? I don't really want a dry spline, that's the thing. That is one of the things that we are not going to ever have here, and that would be a dry spline. A spline where we've got grass drying out. The grass that doesn't have enough water. Because that is certainly not something that's going to happen out here. I do have to do as much with these different grass splines as I can, just because creating isolated pockets of a certain kind is sort of what you want to go for, because that allows you to have more variety when you're still using the same set of splines. Already we have a spot with less grass, a spot with more grass, a spot with greener grass, which, really adds to the effect of, it's just this variety of wetlands that are here. That's the consequence of, I do sort of miss the Twin Fever soundtrack, because it was nice. But the other consequence of using this, because it's all non-copyright stuff, is we won't probably ever have songs that I go, oh, I've heard that in some such place. Certainly not on the radio. Which is, has its pros and cons. Okay, so the easiest way to figure out where the texture is supposed to end is probably to place down something like this, and where it sinks too far, that's where it's supposed to end. Which, honestly, it looks to me like, except for right there, this area is all high enough, and I think we knew that already. Yeah, look at that. Because if we screwed it up and if it was too deep, then the grass would just disappear. For example, that. We can't really see the grass here, which indicates that that's too deep for the grass, because it's been submerged. This grass 28, I think, is going to be our sort of go-to around here, though. Because it looks like it belongs. It really does. Between this and the other stuff here, they're really very good swamp grass things. Yeah, the farther we get out, the better things are going to look, because we're going to have this, carrots. Oh, this is new. Because we're gonna have sort of area that looks homogeneous, even though it's not. Homogeneous in its types, I should say. It'll all look more or less like swamp and swamp grass, and just estuary, wet land in general. Which is really all I'm going for. It's the only thing that's important here, is that we get an area that looks like it's supposed to. So is this brown the right brown? I feel like I'm almost using the wrong thing here. Check on this because we just had a bit of a hiccup. Oh, it is. It looks different above ground. It actually looks even more different when it's covered by grass and stuff here. Out here it looks almost orangey brown, which isn't something I would want. But underwater it looks pretty damn good. Which means that above water we should probably cover it with more grass. What does this look like? It looks black, which is accurate. But the question is, does it look any good? I think it doesn't look half bad. It's coming from the standpoint of it's, you know, the Black Lagoon. It's dark and it's just gross. It doesn't need to look good. Or it doesn't need to look appealing. It does need to look good in that it needs to look realistic. But it doesn't need to look like, oh man, I'd love to go swimming there. Because honestly, who drives by one of these and goes, oh, let's just dive right in? Although I have been in some of them. I have been in an estuary before. Just wading around, trying to find cool shellfish. Grab some clams to take home. Alright, so this area is easily shallow enough to get some grass of kinds. Alright, so right here, fill in that spot. We'll go on a detour to some other place pretty soon. Because I'm getting tired of this too. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting tired of this. The other thing is when we're done, yeah, that almost looks like an egg yolk. But hey, I don't mind it. This looks like some sort of weird fish. Check it out. Let me turn off gradient lines. We've got a fish head with his eye and like a fin sort of thing. That looks cool. Anyways, we're getting further along with this and it's making me very happy. Okay, so let's finish that comment by Raillord. Oh, yeah, he mentions the buffers. I actually have them brought up. Thing is, I'll bring things up, right? I'll bring things up, and I will either forget about them, or usually I'll download them after the show is over. But it will happen from time to time where I will forget. This area I should probably just do myself. Or maybe, you know, up to this line right here. But the I want this texture. So I pulled up the buffers. They're in, or bumpers, or whatever. They are currently in my content manager. They are waiting to be downloaded, but I decided not to try and download them before the show because the DLS is not quick enough when you don't have a first class ticket to want to download things before you do anything. In fact, if you're downloading things, you should probably just put it on overnight, especially if you're downloading a lot of things. In fact, if you are downloading things and you plan to put it on overnight, I would download as much stuff as you can in that night. So queue up tons of stuff. Fill your whole damn screen with download queued, because you know, might as well make use out of it, right? Alright, so I want to push the sand close to the water's edge here, right about there. Although, is this? That's fine for sand. This area, we can get away with this kind of sand. This sand has been making me very happy. See, this is a little bit coarser. It's a little bit rougher and browner and not quite as vibrant. Which means I'll probably have to use it in plenty of other places. You know, I might have even wanted to put a certain, like a special set of trees on the sand, maybe. But for now, it's just going to stay as is. And I'm going to use some nice grass, a grass spline that I like now, as of yesterday. Or 2 days ago, by the time this video comes out. Because I know it's going to be late, I know it always is. Don't get on me. But I have this grass here, which is awesome. It's generally... Oh, I'm holding enter. It's not flashy. It's not really green. It takes up plenty of area. You can do some fun stuff with it if you just turn it sideways. You don't worry too much about the edges. It's really nice grass, and it goes extremely well on top of this this texture here. That's sort of the kicker, because that's what makes it great. That's what takes it from good to great, because you can get away with it. You have a good thing to use as an undertone, almost. I used a little bit more of this here. And the other thing is, I think I'm going to be doing more of this, which my solution to, or my thing for doing this is just click a whole bunch of times with the rocks, like a whole bunch of times, and then what you do is you lower them until you can barely see them. So like that, like that. That's too low, actually. Too high, rather. That. Yeah, sometimes even rotate them, but you know, there will be, if you're doing it randomly, there'll be some areas without really rocks at all, which is fine because that's not unrealistic. And if you move them around, they will change size, which is a good thing and a bad thing. They will also slightly change height in their own, because they have to do with the height of the ground. But yeah, use them at your own discrepancies. You know, I think the flat parts with the rocks look a whole lot better than the not flat parts with the rocks. Because the not flat parts with the rocks, you just end up with rocks sticking out funny. That's why I basically said use copious amounts of them. Because you want to be able to cover all that side area, and you can only do that with one or two of the rocks in a set. Because as you move them down, yeah. As you move them down, only a couple will be left exposed. Whereas this is a relatively flat, rocky beach looking area. You can get plenty of rocks on that. I won't really bother to put rocks in the river, but I will put rocks all around the river. Far along our way. Alright. Right turn, Clyde. A shipbreaking facility would be interesting, but going with the suggestion of loading scrap metal into the rail car, where would the scrap go? Recycling would be a nice touch if you're going to implement a steel mill. Ah! You read my mind. So, I'm sure I've mentioned prior that way on the other side of Tolbrand, over the divide in that direction, the town of Zion will be hosting a steel mill. And that's where a good portion of the coal that the Zion and Skyline brings in will go. And additionally, it's where all of the steel milling will be done. Alright, this area doesn't have grass because I wasn't putting grass there on purpose. Because that area is too rocky for this kind of grass. This is only for flat areas. Or flat-ish. Gentle areas. So, put this here. Yeah. So, that is good. One of the other things that we can do, and we can always do, in order to prepare for putting in the copy-pasted trees is to get the grass set up. And we can't do really anything else, and we can only really it's only really beneficial to do the grass in areas where there will be trees covering, but that's okay. So right here is just fine, and then right here. And I'm not putting the grass too far back. You know, common sense, I guess. Just to not keep too many splines on the board. It's one of the only places where I'm limiting it, because other than that, I could spend hours covering the area with grass, or I could go crazy with copy-paste and cover the whole area with grass. It's absolutely something that I could do. It's probably not something that I will do at any point, other than areas where we don't have any trees to cover over the fact that we don't have grass splines. Now, I think what we should do for a little while, besides putting grass down, is to work on that area that I was going to work on here, which means we need that intersection, which will be over here. Intersection. It's one of the only intersections off the highway. It's over here. This is also one of the few areas where I'm using... Alright, that's an area where I'm using yarn instead of yarnish. I like yarn. How come you're not there? Oh, there you are. I like yarn more than I do yarnish, but there are so many more things for yarnish. And all of Mason's stuff is for yarnish. And some of the stuff for yarnish... some of the stuff for yarn is broken. So... I wish we had a transition object. That would make me very happy. It would be most pleasing. Go off this way, you've got a hill right in your face. If only I could find a spot that wasn't like that. Maybe right here? Yeah, actually. This is pretty good. Come here. This happens to be a spot where both sides are relatively flat compared to the highway that we're dealing with. If I line this up right... Yeah, more or less. So, now let's split the highway. There are always going to be these little places around. There. Oh. I didn't even realize there was a spline point right there. Oh, the other thing is I want to straighten that. There we go. Not sure if that made a difference. There we go. Okay, so we need road. The place is going to be way too small for any, like, real street signs or traffic lights. This is probably going to be the only road through town that has delineation at all. By the way, I'm not spinning the camera too much because I'm trying to add flare to it. It's because of the processor hitting 100%. Which is like 90% tame. And 4% audio, or Audacity, I guess. Okay, so we've got this. I also need to take a road and bring it somewhere in this direction. I wanted to bring it up the hill. We've actually got to get over the railway first, though. And so I think going this way is going to help, because it'll let us reach a natural high point over the tracks, because I'm really trying to prevent having a 4-track crossing out on the main line. Fancy was particularly good about this. I think we can be too. I wish I had a topo map version thing that I could do. Alright, so yeah, the question is it symmetrical? And I'm not sure. The curves should be. No, this one definitely isn't. This one needs to be stretched out this way. Or to not have spiral curves because they suck. Alright, so this way. And then, oops. Actually, that's, well, no, we do need to be a lot. We need it to be a lot higher. In fact, we need this bridge, which is, of course, one of the only bridges that we have. That's way too low, of course. Surprising nobody. Oh, and I can't do that. I was about to say, didn't I disable those warnings? I did, but it was not for this install. No, grab the... No. Alright, so what I need is my handy-dandy measuring tool, which, as we know, is the Baby Ruth High Cube. Where are you? Baby. That's my baby. Nope, turn... Oh, up slightly. That's good enough. So we're gonna flatten the bridge, make sure that it's level, basically. Oh, wrong thing. 22.77. And that should be more than enough for both sides. Alright, so I'm trying to hash this out in my head. It's like, okay, what is the best way to get up there? The answer is probably not by digging a ditch at any point. Including right here. But that means I could probably raise this. Okay, how does that look with this? Yeah, okay, and then we can have this go off into Never Never Land. The other thing we can do is when we have something awkward like this, also, what is going on with that? Oh, oh, this is a Yarnish Bridge. Yarn Bridge. Get rid of it. Alright. And let me guess. Okay. Thank you. Now, this should be the same thing, except just, yeah. Same thing with a different road on it. Nope. Come on. There we go. And I backed it up just slightly. Shouldn't really change anything, but embedded that in the embankment. But yeah, I know, putting a railroad crossing out here Something to be avoided. It's kind of a shame that this is so high now. And it's almost like I want to put something over here, but there's no reason for anything to be over there. Certainly not, because there's nothing over here to connect to. The other thing is we do need a way to get to this tower. Which I guess is fine, because I can just do this. I can just build a turn-off. Which I can do with... I want to see what I can get with no traffic. What is the point of an invisible road with no traffic? Oh, you know what? I get it. It's so that you could put it at the end of a regular road and it probably wouldn't spawn anything. Alright, so I need to... First things first, I need to actually flatten this area slightly because it's not flat enough. Really. We only need to park, 2 cars here. So. Now let's clear that, get it out of the way. And also I can move the interlocking tower to here. Whoa, don't do that. Lost control once again. Just slightly, just for a second. But yeah, the scrap metal that we're getting from the scrapyard over in Olive there is also going to be taken to Tombstone. Or no, Zion. Which, that's going to be interesting to get there because it can either go... That's one of these things. It can either go on the VMR to the Zion and Skyline, and then from there down to Zion, or it can go all the way around the edge of the peninsula on Gilson Eastern Trackage. So it's it's something that's I guess you could call optional. You've got choices there that you can make with the way you want to send your cargo. On the flip side, you don't really get that choice because when I build all the schedules, it'll say, this car needs to go on this train. But, a man can dream. Yeah, it's a little bit wonky, but whatever. It's a road from the highway to the tower that probably shouldn't even be paved anyways, but it is. Because the Gilson Eastern had money to blow. That is a problem that needs to be fixed. We're gonna need tiles over there. I'm gonna end up leaving these things around if I just place them down all over the place with measuring sticks. But yeah, I have the buffers saved. I think that's it. Okay, the last comment is, Sir Meow, when you're done with this amazing build, will you make it public for download? Believe it or not, you can already download a version of this. If you look up Tolbrynd, Tolbrynd, on the download station, you can download that bit over there. Everything up to, I think like here, well, here or so. But everything up to this river was done. That would be version 2. Alpha 0.2. So let's steer. Let's get the road into town, if you could call it that. How about, can I have like a connector? Oh, we've got a retaining wall. Oh, that's nice. I could probably make use of that. I don't get the point of that, but... Oh, it's a pedestrian overpass. Okay, I get it. Splitter. Oh, okay, so some cars will appear and go one way, and some will appear and go the other way. Joiner. Big intersection. That will probably be useful in the future. Yarnish, though. I don't want Yarnish. I want an adapter. Not that one. That one's broken. That's a little bit disappointing. Why is this broken? Let me open a new content window and check this for a second. Installed from DLS faulty. Okay, so that does that. That's not what I wanted to do either. No, that's not helpful either. Okay, I just wanted to convert this into the other kind of road, the one that doesn't have any pavement markings. What the heck is this? Treadway Ave. Oh, Treadway Ave to Yarnish L4 adapter. What the hell is Treadway Ave? Hold on a second. I'm curious now. Treadway Ave. That looks awesome. Oh, I might have to use this. That's all cool. That's all really cool. Weathered stuff. Yeah, so let's go to about here, and then maybe clear that, add a spline point, delete these two sections. Yeah. Okay, so I end up sitting here and thinking about stuff, and then I go quiet. That's not right. I shouldn't be quiet. Can't be quiet. Can't shut up. Especially when I've got the music. At least it feels like, oh, you know what? I've got something to have the audience listen to while I'm slowly placing down a road network. But this is cool enough. The other thing we can do that's particularly cool is we can get these Yarnish. Oh, okay, we've got these things. That's cool. I can get away with that, too. That's all Yarnish stuff, which we will use Yarnish stuff at some point. I would assume that these guys are not paired with, Oh, you know what I need to measure? I need to, like, measure a half a mile. Oh, this is gonna be cool. Alright, hold on. in honor of me finding those roads, I'm probably going to call this place Treadway Beach. Here. Okay, first things first, I need a ruler. Which I know where they are now, because I'm not blind anymore. Alright, so... how far away is,
Sound waves reaching the microphone are changed into impulses of electric current.
No need to worry about your pre-recorded music.
Damn it. Hold on, I'm being an idiot, because I don't know math. So I literally just asked Google a very dumb question. Yeah, okay, 2640. Alright, so that's a half a mile. So let's put the thing over here. Let's get a bracket. So if we do that, I think I can get away with that. L1A. Yeah, okay, so pretty much I can do this. I just need to put this onto the signboard. Whoops. Okay, I want to center it like that. Actually, no. Do I... I think that's good enough, because that means I end up getting, you know, this directly attached to the bar at the bottom, which I think is right. Just gotta do that to get it right on the edge. And it's right over the lane. So yeah, that's right. So, okay, we've got this. First line text. Oh no, so... let's see, what would it be counting down to? I mean, I can just give it an arbitrary number and pretend that it doesn't have a, Do exit numbers go north or south? One-half mile. Treadway Beach. Do I actually have this? Exit number, let's see, 23. Okay. Okay, that's cool. Alright, so I'll hide the exit placard for now, because it's technically not an exit. And this is a, this would be a US highway. Also, I have to pick a fictional highway number now. We've got all these cool signs. So Mason showed me all these signs. Showed me that I have them. What is this? Ramp speed. Oh, okay. Can I change the, Oh, I can. Cool. Oh, and we've got these kind of signs too. Name me Av. Mile, Treadway Beach. I don't know where to put like a Treadway Beach sign. Probably like here? Oh, you know what? It would have to be a, this would be like Treadway Beach Road. Or something. Yeah. God, we're spending so much time on this worthless thing. I should go back and do all these for Olive, too. Treadway Beach. What happens if I make this too long? Does it loop around or does it stick off the sides? Oh, it sticks off the side. I should have guessed that. So this is Treadway Beach Road. Alright. Distance text. Oh. Advanced name only. Name me avenue. Treadway Beach Road. You know, I need to have a, like a left turn. Yeah, see, these signs, there's so many of them, I have no idea what all of them are for. Yeah, so this is all overhead signage, and there's this. Shoulder support, exit signs, double route, sign brackets. Now, I don't, yeah, we've got Treadway Beach Road. That's it. That's all I can do with that. I think I'm gonna do that for now. Not that we can really see it from the railroad tracks. Probably put another one on this side. And wherever there's another turn off. I don't know. We have a lot to play with those signs. You know, I'm not entirely sure what to do next. I just sort of want to play with signs. We do need to put this road up and out. Which, it's unfortunate we had to make it this high over here. What I'm tempted to do is bring it down this way and then around and then up this way. I guess that would be viable. Which, this area back here is not done yet, so it's not really viable. So let's probably do that. It's not, you know, we can't make it make sense yet. Okay. Let's do this then. Problem with this is you've got to get it right on the edge of what, gotta get it right on the edge of where that level is, or else it'll look screwy. Which it already kind of does. Just because it's going from slope to flat. But I just need to put enough ground here that I can put the road up to it. Or, you know, up close to it. Alright, and then I can do this. Which, if I really don't like the way it's looking, I can just use the plateau tool on it and even it up, even it out, or so, like that. Just sort of dull the mountains a little bit, because they don't need to be, they don't need that much. Alright, so that, this, you know, sort of question of where are we going with this? Where are the high points going to be? Where are the low points going to be? You have to have a general idea of what you're doing, even though you can sort of let the terrain work take you. and turn a relatively unknown area into something that you can at least put on display a little bit, put in the background. It's not like this area is going to be too groundbreaking, for sure. Honestly, I could send the road up this way. But we don't know what the backside of this is going to look like. That's another problem. So we still need to make terrain. See, now I'm thinking of, okay, we do need to make the terrain for the VMR route here. And it's not going to be on land that we've currently worked on. So it's not going to be, somewhere on this side of the hills. It's not going to be over here. It's not going to be over here. It's going to be back here somewhere. But that means we've got to get behind this hill. This is the highest thing I think we have. Or no, that is over there. This is one of the higher things that we have. It's the second highest thing, I guess, before the estuary, which that's another thing we need to go to round. Which, that may be another thing we have to drop down a little bit for. Because if we're over here, and the other thing we can do is we could actually just turn and go that way and go around this whole thing. We're still going to clip the edge of the estuary. We still need to figure out what we want to do with that. If we build all that area and it feels like, oh, we just can't get through there, we can't drop down far enough to actually get to make it make sense, I guess. We can't drop down to a level that lets us get by near the estuary, because it's not going to be a 50-foot high sheer cliff next to the estuary and then the railroad line on top of that. It's silly. So what we're going to have to think about that. We're going to have to build it, see if we could make it through there, and if we just blatantly can't, then we have to go out farther and build somewhere else. Okay, so we definitely need to even this out a little bit. Alright. Yeah, some work needs to be done. There we go, we did some work. This guy's name is Perseus. We might need to be a little bit more careful than we're being, but this area probably shouldn't end up being scrutinized too heavily. At least not by my reckoning. Could be wrong. The thing with having you guys here for this whole thing is, the fact of the matter is that you're seeing every mistake and shortcut that gets made. So, I can't tout that, oh look, I went through and I did this meticulous detail over this whole 200-mile long railroad. You guys know I didn't do that. You guys know I took shortcuts and decided that plenty of things were good enough. And that's what it comes down to. Not just in real life. Because in real life sometimes it's a little bit more important to do everything meticulously and to double check your work and everything. But when it comes to modeling, it's, you're the only one getting anything out of it. If you're not getting paid to do a certain route a certain way, you are the only one that needs to care about the detail that you put into an area, that you put into a route. So, it's all for you. This is all for me. I'm the one who wants to do this. I'm the one who wants to build this thing, and yeah, even though I had that discussion a couple of weeks ago about what do we do with what do you do if you don't really feel like working on a route? Yeah, it's all for you. So you can you in the end are the only person that can make the decision to continue or not, because it's your project. And in the end, you're going to be the one that probably sees the most enjoyment out of it. At least that should be the case. And I get immense amounts of enjoyment just from working on these projects and watching them operate and seeing people operate on them. You know, to the point where it's worth it for me to come back to it in the end. Even if I don't have a lot of time, and I can only invest these 2 hours a week into my mega project. That's okay. I should just finish going to the edge of the map with this, because honestly, this area over here is not going to get any shorter than 28.5 meters. Also, yeah, this is in meters, so when I said 50-foot high cliff, I really meant like 130-foot high cliff. So it doesn't make the most sense to do all this and then just be stuck. But the difference is, if we have the railroad up high and it's going by the estuary nearby, and it's, you know, even remotely close, which it will be, the edges of the tiles are going to be able to be seen. You know, if I place a tile a few tiles away and then I look, you know, I can see pretty damn far. I can't, you know, I can see that edge there. I can't see that edge down there, but if I look hard enough, I can't. You know, if I, because I was back here, see, back here you can't see it, but up here you can see it. And that's something that we have to pay attention to. It's fact of the matter. I don't want to have the rail line over here somewhere and you're driving down this and you're seeing this massive cliffside because there is, you know, there is a gap between your tiles. And yeah, part of me could just duck in here, but the question remains, how far do I have to be in order to not be able to see it? And the answer is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tiles. That's a long distance to, you know, to pull this out this way, 8 tiles, and then send it up. And even then, there's not a guarantee that you won't be able to see the edge. I don't think it's worth it. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to stick fairly close to the tiles that we've done, which, you know, isn't something that I'm looking forward to doing because we're going to be placing tiles next to finished tiles and reconciling that. But because of that, it means that when we get over here, we're going to have to either descend and get across or pull out much farther and then finish this area. Which, you know, these are going to come together. We've done some work. Like, this is the edge of the estuary here, and then the other edge of the estuary is over here, really. And so we can bring those guys together out here. I don't know, it's going to be interesting. Just like this, where it's, you know, there's clearly more stuff going on out there. But there's always more terrain to work on. So let's get back to it. Get another half an hour or so. So this area, it's gotten relatively flat. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be building the VMR before I build the Mason Valley line, but that's okay. So, it's gotten... Oh, you know what? Are we far enough away that... I could probably get rid of this tile. Depends how we do over here. And in fact, I'm going to start building this up here. Because it depends so heavily on what elevation the VMR line is when it's coming at it. That's, you know, the VMR line takes higher priority than the Mason Valley branch. It's not rocket science. It's just, it's going to be dependent on that. I'm not going to be changing the VMR too much for the sake of the Mason Valley, even though in the grand scheme, what the Gilson Eastern does is more important to me than what the VMR does and what the Zion and Skyline does, honestly, because I'm starting with the Gilson Eastern and VMR, then Zion and Skyline has taken a back seat, and honestly, the The other thing, the New Shoreham Tramway, is even farther back because it's only really existent in one of the major cities. Well, two of them, I guess. I guess I do count New Shoreham. I don't know how big New Shoreham's going to be. You know, I always say that I've built the third largest town already. I don't know what's going to be going on with New Shoreham. If it's going to be a small community with a huge port, which is probably exactly what it's going to be, or it's going to be this super suburbanized thing, which I could also totally see. You know, it's because you're right across the water from the largest city on the map. I could totally see some of that metropolis mania spilling over into New Shoreham and seeing sort of it turn into this, you know, almost the Staten Island of Gilson City, or even worse, the New Jersey of Gilson City, where it's almost just as built up. It just happens to be across the water, and the only reason it's built up is because it's so close to this other incredibly important location, an incredibly populous location. So that's, you know, that is something that's hypothetically, theoretically, all that ethically possible. And we'll have to see how it turns out, how it really starts looking, and how burned out I am on cities. Because once we get to Gilson City, and I am honestly tempted, now that this has popped into my head, once we get to Gilson City, I might start it at the same time as another project. Like part of the Amar, or part of the Zion and Skyline or something. And say that, okay, we're going to spend 1 hour on this and 1 hour on this every week. And, you know, at the halfway point, I'll sort of take my... I'll suck my breath in and go to the other place. You know, we will have to make that transition. And I could probably get away with that here. I'm just kind of enamored with doing this now, because we can't do anything with trees, and we've done plenty with grass so far. And the only thing left for me to do is buildings, which I guess I could do it. I expect you to die. I expect you to die, Mr. Bond. Yes. Kushi galore. The other thing I just noticed and was tempted to do, because I've sort of left this empty here, I could actually turn this and wrap this around and go up this way, if I deem this to be too difficult to get up, because, you know, we do still have to get up this, and we do need to, I do need tiles here. I just don't feel like putting them down yet, which is why I'm working at this end. Of course, if I brought it this far in this direction, that means we'd need even more tiles, but I don't want to do more tiles over here. I don't think it's necessary. And we definitely don't need space to gain more altitude. If things start getting particularly difficult, and we have to summit some stuff, then yeah, I guess so. But I don't think we need it yet. We definitely don't need this much space to get altitude yet. Bring another line of mountains in this direction. We'll work up this way, and next time we'll drop some tiles in here maybe, and start heading in this direction. And so let's go, this area's, I'm not going right there, not right now. Oh, I forgot to get that other creamery. I need to look up what that was. So, the other thing I need to do is place a switch here, because I need to have a secondary spur that's at least, you know, a few cars long to store cars while you're doing switching here. Alright. There, that's good enough. This just allows you to switch the place out. Wow, we are hanging at, we're hanging above 90% easily. This is a lot to ask of my 4-4 computer. I'm gonna make sure we're still mostly synchronized, which it looks like we are. We're within a couple of seconds. Now, the other thing I need to do, I need to lower this slightly. The music keeps doing that now because the computer's giving up on us. Literally had a moment where everything dropped to 0. The computer just gave up for a second. Anyways, so let's work on these roads and these buildings. Oh yeah, I was supposed to work on the beach more. That's right. Let me guess, I can't change the elevation of this. Oh, I can actually. Oh crap. Alright, just do it carefully. Yeah, like that. Whoa! That guy's speeding. Easy does it there. I guess the speed limit on these roads are pretty quick. So here's our street running section as always. So we've got this building here. And I'm not sure what else kind of buildings that we need. So we've got this. I need stuff like it. Here's our gas station, which I'll put at the crossroads out here. I quite like this gas station. It looks a little bit too late almost. It looks almost like a 70s station, especially with the way the walls are done. And the Coca-Cola logo and the pumps, actually. Those aren't 50s pumps. Well, maybe they are, but they're late 50s. Ah, we've got a school. That is too big of a school for this place. That is a school boy. I did not quite check that out first. Schoolhouse. Yeah, so schoolhouse down the end of Schoolhouse Road. Built slightly on a hill. The amount of schoolhouse roads that I've seen in Rhode Island are pretty nuts. Also, this probably should be over here. You know, you got to think about what developed first. And it'd be this road here, and then the roads that are all mixed in there are going to be mostly, although the school would come a little later. But the roads that are mixed in there are going to be roads that have mostly residential people on them. What is this? Don't think I need that. I think that's only good if somebody has a plot of land. Scotland flag. I think I need that. Scrambler, scrap metal processing. What is... Okay, so this is probably going to be useful in the future. Speaking of the devil, right? Get rid of it. Goodbye, building. Goodbye. Go away. I can't get rid of it, guys. It won't go away. Game's broken. Okay, so note to self. Better place the thing down exactly where you want it. SD houses. Sea and sand. Don't think that's gonna be here. A little bit too fancy. Seagull Seaport. No. Coin-operated telescope. Deck chairs. Fish box. Oh. You could put some of these down somewhere, that's for sure. Over here. It's the fish merchant. Let's put down a box of fish right there. Why not? Maybe we'll deck out that that area later. Section tool house. Self-erecting tower crane, storage units, swing bridge, semi-truck. What is servo? Oh, it's another gas station? Okay. Put this at the other end of town. Yeah, like over here. Yeah, like so, I guess. Sewage works. Calcinating plant. Okay, no. This is cool. This is very nice. Actually, a very cute little depot. That's cool. It's quite nice. I assume that needs a dig hole. Oh, we're gonna need this. Mwahaha. It's gonna be needed way down here. Where's the version of the map where I extended this? Must have lost it. Okay, so we've got a whole lot of sheds. No. Shelby Depot. Shell gas station. Shelter shed. Ship dry dock. Oh goodness. We'll need that later. Ship dry dock 2. Probably use like a whole bunch of dig holes for that. Without name. Would put that here, but we've already got enough stuff going on here. Right, so I do need to put this somewhere. Actually, I was recommended to place this down here. I think I will. I'll put this right in the corner here. Maybe put some sidewalks later. The English are much better with these little shops. Shop blacksmith. Blacksmith? Oh, yeah. For the Wild West. 1884. Actually, I'll put the blacksmith over here. Or somewhere. Because it belongs down here. Just put it right here somewhere. Shop row. Oh yeah. Yeah, the main road is gonna have a bunch of these things on it, but this, this is only hardly the main road. The main road is the one that wraps around this way. This area is zoned commercial and industrial. That's the other thing we've got to think about. What's zoned what? Shop, computer shop, shop bakery, shop block. No. Whoops. Need some good shops to put over here, guys. Any suggestions? Whoops. I wanted to do that. Thank you. What is this? That's a model store. Okay, good enough. Shop butcher. Yeah, I might have to put some sidewalks over here at some point. Fishmonger. That would belong, you know, over here somewhere. Probably. This would be the other area that's zoned commercial. And the thing is, with these, they're designed to be put back to back to back to back. But that's not what I want. I actually want, you know, this sort of stuff. But this guy's got his own little water tower up top. This has got to go over here with this guy. So how big is this? It's that big. I don't know if that's too big. Yeah, we can do that. Shotgun house. Put a couple of these down here. And maybe put a couple of more over by, whatchamacallit, the place we just put the sign for. It's a bunch of these sort of row houses. Not really row houses, but put them in a row in their row houses. You know, they almost seem like company housing, or, you know, just sort of cheapo housing. Like you'd buy this out of a Sears catalog. What is this? Oh yeah, this is something that I'm interested in using at some point. Bunch of shrubs. Need that. Refryer tipple. Cool. I guess. It's best that they made that a separate object so that you can have a thingy. Signal box for disused. Okay, I don't need that. These guys might be useful at some point in the future, but they don't quite look right. Oh, this is cool. This is something nice. I can definitely make use of that. From Silverton, no less. I'm really stretching to think of how this town would be laid out. I need to do more research into how this should look. You know, I just know that there's going to be a lot of road in between certain areas. We're going to have a few yeah, that's for a really built up area. Perfume. Whoa. That doesn't, oh, it does have an entrance. Asplunda. Skagway. Don't need that. Okay, let's get past all the nude people. And past all the sleepers bundled. This could be an outbuilding for that or something. Small canal lock. Gold bunker, little grandstand, small hut, small police station. I don't think you even need that. You even need that. Small sawmill. Small vehicle maintenance facility. That's way too new, so that's no good. Smelting plant. Let's see, we've got soccer fields. We've got water sounds. I don't even know what the hell this is. That is way too built up for what we need. Oh, this is good though. Actually, this is abandoned. I mean, it is the 50s. Obviously, that's not going to help. Okay, we've got viaduct trusses. Useful. These buildings could definitely do us some favors. But they are the same on all sides. I don't know why you would do that. I mean, to save on space, yeah, I guess. But, you know, Vincent's Market. Okay, this is, you know, we're getting somewhere with these. There's another one that's identical on all four sides, though, so I'd rather slide it in someplace where we don't have to see all the sides. You know, I skipped the rest of these. Put this over here. We will need a lighthouse somewhere. I put the one side that doesn't have a door towards the road. Whoa. Why? Alright, so we've got a bunch of St. Louis things. Let's try to put some stuff along the, you know, down here. Along the down here, yeah. Exactly. No. Too big. I should look up more of those. So those signal boxes, St. Louis Union Station, I don't think we need. Don't even know what this is. Transformer something. Sounds like it would be like a substation. I clicked it and the game stopped. Oh. Really? All that for that? I mean, it is. It's a little transformer box. Mission Field, Stagecoach, Stagger Junction, this thing. We don't need that. We got a whole lot of stairs. Staples. Yeah, that's what we need. No. Okay. Station on bridge. Whole bunch of little stations. Don't need them. That's for sure. What is this? Oh. Okay. That was one of my options, that's right. Steam crane. We already have used that somewhere. Steamship wharf. I don't even know where that came from, but that's really nice. Can't use it, but it's really nice. Blast furnace. Okay, so we've got all the steel industry stuff. We're gonna need that in the future. Yeah, we do need this. Again, I need to do more research on what these little communities look like. Honestly, for a community of this many, this many little stores and stuff is probably more than enough. Because, yeah. It's just a tiny little place. That's cool. Stone front shops. And yet I'm putting more down. I'll do it right along the right-of-way here. Which is another place I should be putting more stores. Which the other thing I need to pay attention to is the fact that I need to flatten the ground to make these guys at the proper height so that they aren't sunken into the ground slightly or hovering, which is much more of a problem than being sunken into the ground. Stones, rocks. Yep, that's what I need. Stone shed. Whoa. Okay, these are way too cute. They don't belong here at all, but it's adorable. Alright, we've got storage buildings. We've got storage tanks. We've got more stores. There. Still technically Main Street. Oh, we've got an Agriculture and Farming Association. Alright, there we go. So, we've got a few buildings over here. The other thing, I'm gonna need to start putting down, oh, this is this place. This is, you know, former Union Station in Olive. Okay, that's gaudy. Oh, hey, we've got another post office. Oh, let's put this on the corner, across from the, actually, no, let's put it over here, because this would have been on the post road. You know, formerly. It's not really anymore. Actually, this should probably be over there somewhere. Originally, I was going to put mill buildings back here. But, nah, there's no reason for them to really be over here. If I run out of, okay, that's a bunch of stores, whole bunch of stores. Not bad, actually. But they don't look old enough. These guys look a little bit older. But even still, they've all got these peaked roofs. Like, they seem too modern. They've all got these peaked metal roofs. That's the thing that's really throwing me off. It's all metal. I mean, I guess that's fine. I guess there's nothing wrong with that. But it just jumps out at me as being weird. Honestly, these are not bad. These are good. Okay, what else? Because we've still got 5 minutes. I'm just running around the town placing buildings down. We've got a bunch of buildings here at this square. We've got those guys there. We've got 2 buildings here, you know, a handful rather. A bunch of buildings here at this set of intersections, which this is really where it would all be taking place anyways. And this is like your team track. I should actually put a goods shed over here. We've got another gas station there. Can we get a short thing of storefronts? Yeah, like that. That's good. Although those don't really belong there, because this is just a bypass road. It's got nothing on it. What I'm going to do, I think I'm just going to put these on the corner here. I've got all these DES storefronts. These are actually all pretty good. But we do need to... We need more, like... We need less stores now. So the stores are good. We're good on stores, although I might want to put another little set over here, another little set over here, or, you know, along this stretch. And I do have to reconfigure them a little bit because I need to make a little spot with a line that branches off and just runs tightly between a couple of buildings, maybe. But honestly, in a place like this, does it really make sense? Because we've got tons of room. We've got nothing but room. And I just need to put houses around here. So, we need to get some other Strabstad house. We've got to get some houses to put down over here, although we do need a, we need a, oh, great. I wish I could just name these. We need, get a strip mall. Awesome. Oh, I think I've used this. Yeah, I have. What do we need? We need, yeah, these guys. These houses. And we need more of them. We need lots of them. We need to scatter them all over the place. All over here. So, that's going to be interesting. We only got a little schoolhouse. We don't have a town hall either. Which would probably be either across the street from the schoolhouse or, you know, down here. And I probably should put some stuff on this corner to make it make sense why this is a road here and it doesn't just go straight to here. But that'll take more time and a little bit more thought with regard to how the buildings are set up. Maybe I could put a few more stores here, a few more stores here. You know, you figure every little family in this town has its own store, unless they work at the cannery or the brewery. Because, you know, how else are you going to make money? Or you work at the railroad. I don't know, you need to put some thought into this. Again, especially this right here, because why would this do this? It looks cool, and it looks like it makes sense, but I'm not sure it actually makes sense yet. You know, I definitely need... Why is it green? Why are these all green? This isn't. Yeah. So I think the easiest way to start working on this is to clean this a little bit. Because right now the roads are the thing that's defining. It should be the railroad that's being the odd thing out. So we've got to flatten this area, and then we can put some buildings on this corner here. You know, probably some that run right up to the track. Maybe even one at a weird angle. And probably something at the end of this road here. You know, I'm going to probably spend some time either after this episode or during the next episode thinking about why, because this would probably be the first road and it would end here, probably at the beach, so this has got to be a nice big beach. And then the rail line would come in and it would come this way. Now, well, probably this road came after it, although that doesn't make sense because that's still old style. I don't know. But maybe this was paved that way afterwards. put some stores on this one. I don't know. We'll see. We've got a lot to think about. You guys have any bright ideas? Let me know. You could. There isn't really a good way to name the streets, so I think I'll just, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or no, just 1, 2, 3, and then 4 in the background. I don't know. Because that's a good way to identify them if you guys have any ideas. Obviously, placeholder names. What we could call it, School Street is this one. Ocean Street. I don't freaking know. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you next week. Trainman out.